Hey, welcome to the show. This is episode number 2, and we're going to be talking about Joe Biden's first press conference. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a forgetful show for you today because we're going to be talking about Joe Biden's first press conference as president, which, number one, is unheard of because it's been like 40, 50 days. And number two, isn't surprising that it's his first one given his performance. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who's been following media that Joe Biden has been kept out of the light. This man was elected after having probably the fewest, whatever you want to call it, campaign rallies or conversations than any other president. And when you look at this video we're about to pull up, it's obvious why. My good old dear Joe literally cannot keep track of his sentences. He is quitting sentences mid-sentence because he seemingly just forgot what he was talking about. He thinks he's been in Congress. He thinks he's been in Congress for 120 years, and he constantly fumbles over his speech. I have a grandma who has dementia. I've had a grandpa who has dementia. I'll probably have dementia, so I could speak from this firsthand that Joe Biden is experiencing heavy cognitive decline. It's obvious. One of the most obvious examples is that in this press conference, Joe Biden was given a list with the reporters and a key that would show where the reporters were sitting based on the key. And he had reporters circled that he was going to call on. This is not typical of a press conference. Usually reporters raising their hands, Mr. President, look at me, let me get your attention. And that's what old Joe, who could remember, was used to. And so this Joe, who was given a new plan to make him look cognitively there, kept on forgetting that, so it backfired. Let's pull up. After he gives his little intro speech, he's waiting for reporters to raise their hands, and then he remembers, oh shit, I'm supposed to look at this little paper and figure out where everybody's sitting.
Your progress report.
Watch, let's fast forward. I think it's about right around.
And when I took office,
let's see.
I decided that
here we go.
Zeke is is here, and hope is on the way. Now I'll be happy to take your questions.
Oh, let's see that one more
Is
time.
here, what to do. Is here, and hope is on the way. Now I'll be happy to take your questions.
Joe, it's you.
Zeke, Associated Press.
Boom, man. And this did not just happen one time. My man Joe Biden forgot throughout the whole thing that he was supposed to call on these people on this paper that he had circled. Pretty tough to fuck up. But leave it to Joe. Here's a little montage of all the times that happened.
Okay, hang on. Sorry. Oh, sing me, Miss Kim. Let me get here. Okay. Okay. Where am I here? Let me see. Caitlin? Okay. Okay. Where am I here? Let me see.
That man right there is our president, America. That man right there got elected by people who didn't want Donald Trump so bad that they picked somebody who just literally can't remember what he's talking about while he's talking about and can't remember to call on people who are circled on the only paper that's in front of him. And much like somebody who has dementia or Alzheimer's, you can see that he tries to play it off. It's really sad looking at these press conferences because if you follow Joe Biden's eyes, you can see the points where he realizes he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he bounces from knowing what he's talking about to realizing, holy shit, I don't know what I'm talking about, to trying to correct that by coming up with the most vague answer ever. It's like my nana, my grandma. She has Alzheimer's, and we would still take her to the movies to test her memory. We'd say, Nana, how was that movie? And she'd say, oh, I loved that movie. It was really good. The beginning, it really just kind of set everything up for you. And I didn't know what was going on. And then the middle, everything just kind of switched around. And the end really brought it together. And it's like, oh, yes, Nana, thank you for explaining every movie ever invented. But I love my Nana, but she's not running the U.S. government. Or, she's not the most powerful woman or man or person in the world because she's not running for president, as she should not be running for president. But old Joe, watch him play this off. This is, just look at his eyes. And we're going to kind of, I know we are going to be talking about the content somewhat, but this is really just about this man's cognitive ability. Look at him trying to play this off.
Circumstances must be horrible. So we can do something about that. That's what the vice president's going to be doing.
Look for his eyes.
What I did when President Obama asked me to come and deal, I was in Turkey at the time. He said, "You got to come home and take care of this." So we put together a plan, and it had an impact. And so the question here is how we go ahead and do this.
How we go ahead.
What we do.
What do we do?
There's no easy answer.
Quick.
The circumstances must be
Watch one more
horrible.
time.
So we can do something about that. That's what the vice president's going to be doing. What I did when President Obama asked me to come and deal, I was in Turkey at the time. He said, "You got to come home and take care of this." So we put together a plan, and it had an impact. And so the question here is how we go ahead and do this. What we do.
The question here
There's no easy
is whether how we go about and do this. What we do. The question here is whether how we go about this and do what we do. What the does that even mean, Joe? We're going to move on. We're going to move on to another senile trait of old Joey, and that is the old mouth. You'll see old people in cartoons who see hot cartoons always have their mouth open, and that's old Joey here. Look at him.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
One more time.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
And he realizes, you can see as he blinks, he's like, shit, I got my
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Okay, back to he zones out and look at him.
Thank you very
Hands
much,
go up.
Mr. President.
Okay, and he's ready to perform right there. Oh, where am I? Oh, shit.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
And this was just a repeat on the whole thing. It's if you look at it, it's actually tough to just watch. Another thing is the lean in. Joe Biden has a hearing problem. He has a speaking problem. He has a brain problem. But instead of taking command and telling the reporter, "Excuse me, speak up. Can you repeat that?" Or, "Excuse me, you need to speak up. You need to repeat that." He does these lean-in things that make him seem real old and off. Because he is. He is a little old and off. There's nothing wrong with not having good hearing. But the way he presents it is that it's him as the issue and not the reporter speaking. You know, if a reporter messes up or she mumbles or she talks too low, or she has a mask on, it's not wrong to say, "Excuse me, can you speak up? Can you remove the mask a little bit so I can hear what you're saying?" But old Joey, fucking with the lean in, so check out the lean in here on old Joe. Let's see, is it not going to? All right, actually, let's move on because the lean in video isn't playing for some reason, but that's okay. Actually, give me 1 second. We're going to do it right here. We're going to do it live. Fuck it. Should only take 1 second. I don't know why my shit wants to fuck up. Wait, what? The fuck did she just say? Let's fucking rewind that. Look at him. He's like, "Who the fuck is Zeke?" Wait. Huh? Look at it. My man does not recover from this confusion. Look at that face. He's like, "Who the fuck is Zeke?" Who the fuck is Zeke? My man, President Biden, President Joe Biden. Zeke was that other reporter that you have the name on the list. But let's just see it one more time, because this blows my mind that nobody, or at least in the mainstream, cares that their president can't hold a streamlined thought for like what? This is like 10 minutes in now. He doesn't remember Zeke the reporter. Let's see. Just for fun. Shits and giggles. Come on, man. It's like, how the fuck am I getting out of this? Fake laugh. He just notices, likely I know this from my grandma, he notices that her change in tune is very light and playful. So he's like, okay, throw a smile. She's joking. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Old Joey doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And when the lean in doesn't work, my friends, he tries to do this podium thing where he steps around the podium, but it just looks awkward. He looks like Grandpa who's going the wrong way. It's like, no, Grandpa, no. You're not supposed to leave the podium, Grandpa. Stay here. What's Grandpa doing? Watch, look at this. It wants to do that too, okay? It's Joe Biden. It's gonna freeze here. If you haven't left, don't. My lord. Anyways, if you look at all the media, it's pretty impressive how nobody is commenting on his senility, if that's even a word. I think only like 2 publications did.
Well, no, treating the root causes in Latin America doesn't change things overnight. How do you realistically and physically keep this?
So right there, he doesn't know what the fuck she's saying. And instead of just saying, excuse me, can you repeat? Or wait for her to say it again, and then or wait for her to finish what she's saying and then repeat, he decides, you know what, I'm going to try to not act old. I'm going to go out in front of the podium.
Families from coming to.
Look, the camera doesn't even know what the fuck's going on. The camera, there's not a lot of movement going on in here. So the cameraman, this is just unexpected. Nobody thinks old Joe's going to.
The U.S.
So
when things will not get better in their countries right away.
And just look at that face. Number one, he really does bear a striking resemblance to Jeff Dunham's puppet. I don't know what kind of muscles you have to have in your face to always be like, oh God, here's going on. I don't know it's like the opposite frown. Anyways, let's take a look. As soon as he walks out there, she's done with the question.
Well, I can't guarantee that, but I know, that old thing, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
Oh, of course. Thank you for that general. You can use that for anything. Mr. President, North Korea plans to attack us. They've said that if we don't submit to what they're asking for, they're going to attack us pretty soon. What do you say on that? Well, I'd say it goes with the old saying: 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, sir. We need to get to space. We want to go to Pluto. So what is your stance? Or what is your plan to get to Pluto? Well, I just, like every journey, it starts like 1,000-mile journey. It starts with the first step. And I got to know how to do what we do when we do it. Is that right, Kamala? Blah, 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 blah. It blows my mind. All right, here's another one of him just derailing completely from the subject that they're on.
We have over 100,000 wellheads that are not capped, leaking methane. What are we doing?
What are you doing, Joe?
And by the way,
what?
We can put as many pipe fitters and miners on us to work capping those wells at the same price that they would charge to dig those wells. So I just find it
what are you going to say?
Frustrating.
Damn.
Frustrating.
Huh?
Talk about...
He found it frustrating, and it was so hard for him to come up with those words. He said, what do I find it like? How do I explain this? I just find it frustrating. I'm sorry, this is just like somebody you'd meet in an old person home. And this gentleman here, I mean, the President of the United States, he doesn't have his, he just doesn't have any of the information that you'd expect the president to have in his head. He's constantly reading off of notes, and he's not even trying to hide it. For example, look at somebody asked him a question about North Korea. And just look that you can obviously tell that he's reading what he's saying, like as in these thoughts are not his own. As in these thoughts that he should have, given his long history in the United States government, he should have a few of these ideas solidified within his mind. He shouldn't have to read off of a paper that you didn't write for every question that you get, especially big ones like international with North Korea. Here we go.
To ask you about foreign policy, Mr. President. Overnight, we learned that North Korea tested 2 ballistic missiles. What, if any, actions will you take, and what is your red line on North Korea?
Let me say that, number one, UN Resolution 1718 was violated by those particular missiles that were tested. Number one. We're consulting with our allies and partners, and there will be responses if they choose to escalate. We will respond accordingly. But I'm also prepared for some form of diplomacy, but it has to be conditioned upon the end result of denuclearization. So that's what we're doing right now.
This is like when you're in school, middle school, elementary school, or maybe even high school for some of you, and the teacher is asking people to read. Then you get the kid who can't really read that well, and he tries his darndest, but he's just like, well, and then you see him read a little bit, kind of gets sidetracked, loses either his place or just starts thinking about something else. I mean, you could see this going down in Joe Biden's poor old face. And it shouldn't even be funny. This shouldn't be a topic that we should be discussing about with our president.
Right now, consulting with our allies.
Just very quick follow-up.
You only got another hour now, okay?
Diplomacy, can you define what you mean? And former President Obama warned the incoming President Trump that North Korea was the top foreign policy issue that he was watching. Is that how you assess the crisis in North Korea?
Yes.
Yes. Hey, come on. He does not assess it like that. We know for a fact, based on his actions and who they target, that he's not thinking that. And we know based on how they treated Trump when he went over there to try to, like, at least start some type of conversation. But, all right, here's another one. They get sadder as they go along. Look at Joe. He's asked about gun control. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of this clip because it's long. But he's asked about gun control. And he switches to infrastructure. Now, this is like there's always politicians who do like switches, right? Double speak. They lead you somewhere else. You ask one question, they never really answer it. But you can see in his face that it's not that he purposely didn't answer it. He kind of lost where the fuck he was at. And whatever they had on him for those papers, it was like a talking point. And he knew that, oh, I have to somehow wrap this up to infrastructure and switch it to that because those are the talking points here. And instead of giving a nice answer to gun control, maybe smoothly going over that, he gives kind of like this real quick statement about gun control and then awkwardly sidesteps to infrastructure. Hold up. What's going on here? Hold on. You know, sometimes stuff just happens like that. Okay, where are we at? Infrastructure. Come on. Guns to infrastructure. Oh, guys, we're just having a nice little bunch of issues today. So what happened here, for those who don't know, is I got this new application called Streamlabs, and it kind of helps me to switch some of these in and out. But for whatever reason, it really just doesn't want to mess with me today. So here we go, gun control. Okay.
The tragedies in Georgia and Colorado, you had said to stay tuned for actions that you might take on gun control. wondering if you've made a decision either about sending the manufacturer liability bill that you had promised on day one to Capitol Hill, or executive actions like going after ghost guns or giving money to cities and states to battle gun control.
All the above. It's a matter of timing. As you've all observed,
Get ready for this fucking switch after this general ass.
successful presidents, better than me, have been successful in large part because they know how to time what they're doing.
Okay, successful presidents, better than me, are successful because they know how to time their moves. That is not unique to success, my friend. That should be what every president does. We should have confidence that every official we elect has the ability to time their fucking moves.
Order it. Decide in priorities what needs to be done. The next major initiative is,
What is it, gun control?
and I'll be announcing it Friday in Pittsburgh in detail, is to rebuild the infrastructure, both physical and technological infrastructure of this country, so that we can compete and create significant numbers of really good paying jobs.
And that's what I got to say about gun control. I mean, come on. All right, here's a quick little funny bit where he said that he joined Congress 120 years ago and didn't correct himself.
Filibuster. So filibuster. With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
120 years ago? He just came to the Senate 120 years ago. Huh. Now here's Joe Biden saying he plans to run for a second term. Oh, my Lord, guys. You can't believe... Hold on, give me 1 second. Sometimes the devil is just fucking you over. And since Lil Nas released that little devil twerkathon song or whatever, that is happening to me. Come on, where are we going here? Okay, second term. Play it. Okay, so you just heard Joe Biden say that, yes, I'll run for president. She said, will you run for president? Haha, yes, that's my plan to run for president. All right, look how quickly he forgets that he even suggested that. And now he says that, how am I supposed to know if I'm going to run for president? I can't plan 4 years ahead. Yeah, it sounds like something pretty stupid to say, and you're probably like, dude, he didn't say it like that. You're misquoting him. No, I'm not. Check it out.
Moving closer to eliminating the filibuster. Is that correct?
I answered your question.
You also just made some news by saying that you are going to run for re-election.
I said that is my expectation.
So is that a yes, that you are running for re-election?
Look, I don't know where you guys come from, man. I've never been able to travel. I'm a great respecter of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain.
And if you do...
I don't know where you guys are coming from, man. I haven't been able to travel. I can't plan 4 years in the future. I don't know where you guys are getting this malarkey. You're acting like just 4 seconds ago I said, yes, I would run for president. Oh, Joe Biden. Now here we're going to enter some of the sad territory where he completely just gives up. Now, these are probably the saddest little clips that you've ever seen from a current sitting president. And this would make you sad if you saw your grandpa, mom, grandma, nana, anybody do this. Where they just completely give up. I do this when I'm high. Like, if I've ever smoked too much, I'll be mid-sentence, and then I'll be like, what the fuck, where was I going? And I'll just be like, forget about it. Joe Biden's not high, guys. And if he is, he shouldn't be smoking right now. Here we go. Joe gives up.
And so I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to... Anyway,
let's hear that. Let's hear that one more time.
I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to...
The best way to get something done, if you hold near and dear to you that you'd like to...
Anyway.
Anyway. Let's do it one more time.
So we're at something done. If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway.
Anyway. Fuck it, huh, Joe? All right, check out this next one.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
Hold up. There's a different one, and I must have not had it saved. So I'm sorry. We're just going to watch that one again.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. We're going to get a lot done. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. We're going to get a lot done.
All right, and then check out this little exit by Biden. He just doesn't know. He's basically asked. Well, we'll just watch. Oh, would you fucking look at that? That's not loaded either. We'll do
And has.
Okay, guys. So whatever reason, some of these clips haven't loaded properly. My fault on my end, but it's worth watching the entire press conference. It's much more painful than this show. I promise you that. Given all of our errors today, and since some of these last clips that I wanted to show aren't, for whatever reason, loading, maybe I'll pick them up later. But I'll leave you guys off with just a small little, tiny little gaff reel.
And has been continued to be. He in fact shut down the number of beds available, and I started to deal with it back when I was United States Senator. Vice President, putting together that it used to be that from between, but that's what's happened, and has been continued to be. He in fact shut down the number of beds available, and I started to deal with it back when I was United States Senator. Vice President, putting together that it used to be that that.
You know, I don't want to make fun of this guy. I don't want to make fun of somebody who has dementia or not. But somebody's got to. Somebody's got to say, hey, look at this guy's not right in his right mind. And for those who say, oh, the media does that all the time, literally just do a search of some of the things that you've seen today. Do a search about, just type in 120 years, Joe Biden, and you're going to see that nobody's reporting on these things. Nobody's handling it like a real reporter. Nobody's saying, oh, Joe Biden completely fumbles over his speech. I take it back because there are a few publications that are doing it, but for the most part, they're acting as though this guy is hitting the mark. Now, some could argue that, hey, this is our president. You know, when FDR or whoever the hell it was in a wheelchair, you know, we couldn't seem weak, so the press helped him out. But, you know, we're at a point where information's pretty free-flowing, and it gets to a point where the manipulation is so vast that it takes much more control, I guess, of people's opinions. You know, back in the day, you had a few TV stations and a few newspapers. Now you're bombarded with media constantly. And, you know, this media, a lot of it's leaning towards this weird perception of Joe Biden that he's the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread. And he's not. And he's not good at any of the issues he set out to. Sorry, excuse me. He's not backing up any of the promises he made. Like, I don't necessarily agree with all the promises he made, but we're talking about, like, border patrol, the border situation specifically. Same thing, kids in cages. Same Trump shit. 10,000 people released into the fucking country in the past 3 months. But you're not hearing this. You're not hearing the things he does as issues. It's all like a very PR thing. Just keep your eye on the news, and you'll notice that most of it's just a big PR stunt for Joe Biden. And I just want to let y'all know out there, if you voted for Joe Biden, you essentially just voted for Kamala Harris. And fuck that bitch. All right, anyways, guys, till next time. And look at my fucking intro. I got nothing. Just act like something's playing.